Hi, everybody, and welcome to our pre-full moon Sagittarius webinar. We are beginning about 7 hours and 45, let's see, how's it go, maybe 7 hours and 45 minutes or so before the full moon. Maybe it's even 9 hours. Anyways, it's 2:45 and 55 seconds GMT, so it's actually 9 hours. We have the very important sign Sagittarius moving in this period of the Advent as we look forward to the birth of the Christ in the individual human being and in humanity, the long-awaited second coming and the vision of that appearance of the great Lord of Love in the heart of every individual, and even more importantly, within humanity as a whole. Here we have the motto, I see the goal, I reach that goal, and then I see another. And the rulers here of Sagittarius, orthodoxly, the great planet Jupiter, the profound sacred planet, our own little Earth, the Earth scheme, a non-sacred planet. So we are directly related to this sign, just as we are related to Gemini and, interestingly, also to Taurus. Those are the three signs to which the Earth is the most related. And finally, hierarchically, the red planet Mars, another non-sacred planet. And we will discuss the meanings here. The Jofra illustration shows Zeus in the heavens, lighting the tip of the arrow of aspiration that the archer is about to release. In a way, this archer has already slain the lesser man, here depicted as the goat skin. And no longer is his consciousness entrapped by lower thought forms, at least in this picture, and he's going to release his arrow into the heavens, where it will return to him, the arrow of aspiration returning to him as the bolt, the arrow of the intuition. This is one of the highly intuitive signs. Interestingly, its opposite sign, Gemini, is also that. Of course, intuition can come in any of the signs, but DK specifies that there is a transcendence, perhaps, of the lower concrete mind. This we find by the fact that Mercury, in its aspect as the lower concrete mind, is weakened in Sagittarius, and in another way strengthened, because its intuitive rather than its reasoning aspect is emphasized. So this is a time for all of us when we can be open to the intuition which comes from the higher realms and which can arrive to our consciousness as pure truth beyond the laborious methods of the lower reason. Eventually, of course, this simply depicts one aspect of the archer. It's the half man, half horse, and later he turns into the full rider on the horse, detached, and the horse becomes the white horse, and eventually only the bow and arrow remain. It's the interior faculty with which we apprehend the realm of initiatory understanding. We may not be there yet, but we see it. That's the important point. We must see. And in this vision of a greater reality, inspiration comes to us. Sagittarius actually rules that factor in meditation which we call inspiration, the breathing in of fire, the breathing in of a god. So let us attempt during this period, as Capricorn approaches and as the Morya Federation at the solstice begins its new and fifth year, emphasizing the spiritual will, let us be open to the higher realms and to the higher vision, which will give us that kind of fiery strength and inspiration we so much need. We want to have our objective be true and pure purpose, and when we live purposeful life, spiritually purposeful life, we will be inspired and our strength will be greatly increased. We in the spiritual community, those of us who appreciate the esoteric way of life, we need the strength of inspiration as never before, and the ability to convey a truer vision of reality to all humanity, humanity perishing in consciousness due to a lack of true vision. This we can convey because it's like the hermit here, we have gone inward and have found reality to a degree and are carrying the lamp which can illumine the way of others. I see the goal, I reach that goal, and then I see another. I want to point out here the illustrations that Francis Donald has given us. This is the first of the illustrations, and we see the archer shooting across the swamps of Camamanus and the Stymphalian birds. They are taking flight and are vanished. He aims at that mountain peak where true illumination is found. And here, another illustration, excuse me, which illustrates the process of thought reception, or reception of ideas from the Buddhic plane and how they become the thought. Let us see some of the things that Francis is describing here. First, he describes the archer, the birds of Stymphalus, and from his arduously gained elevated vantage point on the path of return, a Sagittarian disciple looks out across the long way that lies ahead. He sees the water of his own astral domain ruffled by the thought forms that stream from the dark realm of his unconscious, crowding his inner landscape with the chaos and cross-purposes of self-focused attention. As he struggles for self-mastery, he intuitively raises his bow and aims the arrow of his intent towards the goal. And this we saw as the illumined mountain top that the initiate in Capricorn actually manages to climb and stand in that supernal light. But the Sagittarian is aiming towards the supernal light above and beyond all of his normal psychological confusion caused by the thought forms which are not proper for revelation. Silence fills him, an opening forms, and by the power of, quote, the flame that gleams beyond the mind, he breaks through the disabling influence of Camamanus. The flame that gleams beyond the mind. And here, this is what we can come en rapport with, this flame of intuition which synthesizes all that the mind can reveal. This is our objective. And Francis describes this in geometrical terms. The radius of a circle can be seen in the drawn bow and arrow, and this gives rise to two opposing perspectives. From the point in the center, the Sagittarian aspirant releases the arrow of his intent towards the bounds of his own ring pass knot, And when he retrieves that arrow, he discovers that he now stands at a new center of a new expanded circle. So ever we are moving toward new points which are ever more central to expanded spheres. The Jupiterian second ray impulse offers this perspective, ever to stand at a deeper point, which is the center of an expanded sphere. And standing on the periphery of the circle, the disciple focuses intent on the center point. That's another way to go. When after great struggle he reaches that goal, he finds himself on the periphery of an even greater circle. So we're going in two directions along the radius. And when the disciple becomes increasingly decentralized and is thus more identified with his goal than with himself, the second scenario begins to dominate. In either case, the radius must be traversed, and this is the most fundamental symbol we have for the path of return. We move outward and beyond, ever seeking to widen the radius of our sphere, only to discover that in doing so we stand at a new center. That which seems to be outward is really more inward, and we move into that realm of initiatory understanding which the higher Sagittarian can master. So let's look again at this illustration, and this is the one here. The intent archer, the distant goal, and all of us have one. And this is the time of the year when we must envision what for us is that distant and yet achievable goal. This will give us new strength, new inspiration, new vitality to move forward along a straight line towards it, and not taking the byways here and there, but with speed to accomplish our objective. And here will be the second piece, which shows the descent of the thought form from the Buddhic plane into the sphere of man, becoming more and more concentrated and smaller and concrete until eventually it appears perhaps as a dim reflection of what it was when it descended from Buddhi. And yet we have to bring these ideas, that's what they are on the Buddhic realm, all the way down. And Sagittarius is one of these signs which is particularly connected with the Buddhic plane. So ideas and thought forms. The great hint given to Heracles just before the start of his Sagittarian labor was, the flame that gleams beyond the mind reveals direction sure. The flame is the flame of intuition, the language of the idea. The word idea, as used occultly, connotes a far more elevated concept than that which is commonly understood by the term. The Tibetan tells us that ideas, which are to be found on the Buddhic plane, and I would say yes, and above on all the cosmic ethers as well, on all the subtle planes of the cosmic physical plane, but minimally upon the Buddhic plane, that ideas are used by hierarchy to galvanize the minds of humankind and thus direct us towards an ever greater experience of life. And that contact opens up from the moment a man has aligned himself and brought the lower structure into touch with the higher. And usually we think of Gemini as the sign that connects with the Antikarana, but its opposite sign, Sagittarius, is also an antikaranic sign. And when we enter the phase of projection, as we do in our meditations together, and we shoot that imaginary beam of light along the Antikarana, we are actually shooting an arrow. It's a Sagittarian act. So the reciprocity of invocation and evocation is Geminian, but the shot of the arrow may be from either direction, from the direction of spirit as well as from our own direction. This has a Sagittarian connotation. So here Francis says that he's attempted to illustrate the genesis of an idea. The image depicts the planes that make up the human quaternary. We saw that in the sphere. The mental, astral, and physical planes with the light of the Buddhic realm informing the whole. Let's look at that. The light of the Buddhic realm informing the whole, and here we have the various planes which make up the human sphere. Okay. Superimposed on these horizontal strata is the domain shown here as an ovoid where in the experience of the human being takes place. Above this ovoid is the realm of the idea on its own plane. That's the Buddhic plane. Shown here is a large sphere whose lowest part is just visible at the top of the piece. And this we see. The large sphere of Buddhi visible at the top of the human sphere. Now, notice that it is only this realm's reflected light that penetrates the crown of the ovoid. So through our head center, and especially through the heart and the head and through the heart, we are to become responsive to the energy of ideas, which are really the energy of pure reason. At the center of this human ovoid is a much smaller sphere that represents an apprehended idea. The idea revealed becomes then an ideal to the attentive mind and eventually something to be desired and materialized. And we'll see that in a moment. The thought-form-making faculty of the mind then comes into play. Here we see this apprehended idea, and it gradually becomes even more concrete, but perhaps less representative of the pure idea from the Buddhic plane. So we can trace here the idea's genesis as it passes from the Buddhic down to the various subplanes of the mental plane and then down into the astral, where it is further reduced and distorted. It's represented by the drop of water and the ripples that it causes. This we see here on this level. And then finally at the lowest physical plane level of the ovoid, it becomes fragmented shadow or a mere idol. Well, this is the interior nature of Sagittarius. And you'll be able to read the rest of this. Probably some of you have already received this description by Francis. And when you, if you wish to look at the video that we're making of this, you'll be able to read the entirety of it. These are profound inner ideas. This sign being called the sign of silence. So that is the lesson of Sagittarius, restraint of speech and control of thought. And in that silence, it becomes ever more possible to apprehend the true idea, which represents the realms of reality rather than the realms of glamour, illusion, and Maya. We need to see clearly with pure reason, augmented by the power of love, which always reveals. Love reveals, the love of the Buddhic plane. And love reveals to us the purely reasonable manner in which the Creator, deity, has organized all things, the archetypes which are to eventually express themselves in fullness in this lower world, so terribly distorted by all the illusions and glamours and mayas that we think are real. But if we can really shoot over the swamp and touch our goal and receive the descending arrow of intuition in some degree of purity, then we can bring into these lower worlds that which is required to bring them in alignment with that which God intends. God, the planetary logos, and eventually the solar logos. True purpose on our planet, and this will be brought forward through the enactment of the divine plan for which each one of us is responsible, and may we see our peace in the divine plan at this time. May we really see it with clarity so we can bring it through and manifest it in actuality as the Saturnian sign Capricorn takes over in just a month. Now we are ready to begin our work. We've passed through the 3 days of preparation. We're within the 12-hour period before the full moon itself. We have our day is the day of safeguarding, of receiving and holding. We're very close, and we're actually in that energy. We will follow this by 3 days of distribution where we register that which has descended intuitively. We have this sense of expectancy and the belief eventually that all that we have received will materialize. This is our work in meditation, to receive the subtle impacts and make them real in the world. Maybe it's really the most important thing we can do. The world is suffocating. It cannot breathe higher air of inspiration. And even though Gemini is the sign of the breath, the opposite sign, Sagittarius, gives us the breath of fire, which we can draw into our system and bring through into focus and finally into precipitation and manifestation on this earth, which is becoming increasingly a sacred planet. So, friends, let us gather together as a group. Here we are all over the world, different times apparently, in our particular locale, but all of us looking forward to the full moon, which is going to be occurring, you know, in just 8 or 9 hours or so. And we focus in our consciousness, but begin to detach that consciousness from all with which it is usually identified. We so often think we are the body or our feelings or our many unstable thoughts. We are none of those things. We have these vehicles. We are not these vehicles, and somehow we see this as we abstract our consciousness away from the outer identifications, and we enter into the sense of being the soul in incarnation, the observer of all the customary fields consisting of the personality, but the observer, really. And as we find ourselves as the soul in incarnation, we identify still more deeply as the soul on its own plane, the higher mental plane. We begin to feel ourselves as a soul in incarnation merging into the field of light and love and power, which causes our usual preoccupations to fade out. We are not concerned now with what the senses reveal. We're not concerned with the feelings and the attractions of the astral body or the repulsions, nor with the many concrete thoughts. We're not concerned there because we're focusing in a field of light, love, and power. And this field becomes for us even more real than that with which we customarily identify ourselves. And we realize that there is no truly individual soul or some kind of isolated unit, but the soul is the principle of relationship. And we have these many centers of consciousness, all interrelated as a group. So we begin to merge into what we call the group soul. The soul is always group conscious. feel a connection in this group of willing meditators, but beyond that as well, touching in soul the new group of world servers all over the globe, feeling solidarity with them as if seeing them in soul, and touching the men and women of goodwill in soul, imagining them to be scattered everywhere, as brighter points of light among the dimmer points, but the dimmer points are our brothers and sisters, the members of the human race, everywhere to be found. And we touch them in soul as well, all, feeling the unity, whether they are on this side of the veil or on the other side, it makes no difference. We feel our unity with all souls in the human family, and the one soul of humanity begins to emerge in our consciousness. We realize, touching these billions of units of consciousness, that we are everywhere present, that there is no my soul or thy soul. There are no other selves, as we are told. There is only the one multi-dimensional consciousness of humanity. Every one of those points, soul points, at a different degree of consciousness, but really, it's all one consciousness. The many eyes of Argus, the many apertures within the one consciousness, the many perceptions within that one synthesized perception. Naught is but me, the greater being, with many eyes, each one of our fellow souls an eye in this sign of vision, appreciated in this sign of vision, Sagittarius. And if we could live with that vision of the many souls of all human beings as one soul, united in fact with the soul of all kingdoms and of the planet, then we would see something important. So let us cultivate that inclusive Jupiterian vision of the unity which is beyond the apparent diversity of things. And here we are together as a group, focused upon the plane of mind, open to the light of the soul consciousness with which we are identified. The soul feeds that point of tension which is the root of the antikarana. The area of the group mental unit is fed by the will aspect of the soul, strengthened so that projection may occur, and feel yourself then absorbing these 7 aspects of the will to initiate, the will to unify, the will to evolve, the will to harmonize, the will to act, the will to cause, the will to express. We are focused on the plane of mind in the light of the soul. We stand within the fire of mind, focused within the head's clear light, open to the soul, strengthened by the will of the soul. The group imbued with all the 7 aspects of will. And each one of us is contributing a strand of the rainbow bridge, of the group rainbow bridge, according to the color of our soul ray and personality ray. We can visualize each of us a dual strand, however we wish to do it. Red for the first ray, second ray, green for the third ray, yellow for the fourth, orange for the 5th ray, light blue or silvery rose for the 6th ray, violet color for the 7th. We visualize our own, as it were, Antakarana, rainbow bridge, extending from the mental unit on the higher part of the concrete mind. We feel the quality of the colors, 2 colors for each of us, or just use indigo blue if you're not sure of your soul and personality ray. Feel those colors because they are methods of contact with the higher spheres. So you have your own colors, your own qualities and your own notes, but they blend in with the colors, the qualities, the notes of the entire group. So it's all multicolored strands of the rainbow bridge, forming a kind of cone, kind of ascending cone to a great whitish blue light, which we will imagine as the realm of spirit, of monad, the kind of Syrian realm of whitish blue. Or we can vision this going toward the center of the sphere, toward a whitish blue center, whichever you choose. All the many colors, scattered as we are all over the globe, yet we produce this ascending cone of multicolored light, touching the realm of pure being, the spirit of monad. We can imagine it, at least that we can do. And at a point of intensity for each of us, we are going to project the brilliant white light across the rainbow bridge until it touches the great apex of spirit, having passed through the realms of the triad, through the abstract mind, through the gathering intuition, through the spiritual will, until it touches the realm of being in the monad. We will use second ray word of power. I see the greatest light. Now the way to do it, we can sound the Om on the second ray note while we think. I see the greatest light. We'll do this 3 times, establishing our link with the higher worlds, our link as a group. Om. So now, as a group, we are united in our rapport with the higher realms, at least imaginatively so, and we know that imagination is the beginning of the process, which turns real. So we are linked. And we have, at least imaginatively as a group, entered the realm where the masters are always focused. They have achieved their polarization there, in the spiritual triad, and especially on the Buddhic and Atmic planes. And feeling then some rapport with these planes, we will offer our solidarity, our cooperation to the elder brothers of the human race, the graduates of the human curriculum. We will stand with them. We will be infused with their energy. We will offer our own cooperation in externalizing the plans which they have formulated in response to the divine purpose of Sanat Kumara. So our salutations are acts of solidarity with the spiritual hierarchy of our planet, full and selfless cooperation with these great servants of humanity and the planet. So first, then, to the head of the hierarchy, the Christ. Salutations to the Christ, the master of all masters, the teacher alike of angels and of men. Salutations to the triangle of masters with whom we work most closely. Salutations to the Master Morya, the head of all esoteric schools and organizations. Salutations to the Master Kutumi, whose ashram is most responsible for promoting the reappearance of the Lord Maitreya, the Christ. Salutations to the Master Jwal Kul, who has given us the Blue Books, is the great messenger and revelatory teacher to such disciples as we intend to be. salutations to your own master as you know him to be or conceive him to be. Salutations to the spiritual hierarchy of our planet as a whole. We pledge our heart, our soul, to full cooperation as we can best conceive it with the spiritual hierarchy of our planet. So as a group, we have made a pledge through these salutations. Attempt as a group to carry these salutations even farther, imaginatively raising our thought to Shambhala, where the will of God is known, and with deepest reverence and in all humility, we attempt, identified as a group soul, to attune with the presence of Sanat Kumara, the soul-infused personality of the planetary Logos, standing at the very center of Shambhala. This inconceivable life, this Lord of Venusian love, this being whom we only see face to face at the fifth initiation of mastership. Only then we sound a long, inner, silent home, imagining the group imbued with his energy of divine purpose and will. Into Shambhala, that planetary center, the highest of all planetary centers, gather the energies of the constellations, the planets, under the law of assembly at this potent time of the full moon. Unique opportunity for all of us. And humanity has to be informed of this opportunity and led in the ways that will help to establish the New World religion of invocation and evocation, scientifically undertaken. This is the vision for the future in the Aquarian age, so that one day in the far distant future, Sanat Kumara, the planetary Logos, may walk the earth, so to speak, anchoring himself visibly to all on the lowest etheric plane. So in this alignment, we condense our energy as if into a brilliant point of light. Our normal personalities banished from sight, we are together at a brilliant point of light, of great love, of sacrificial will. We are together at a point time and space is collapsed, and together as one being we hover, as it were, above the golden pathway which leads to the center of the indigo sun, this opening to higher experience. And as the golden pathway shortens, as DK tells us it will, it is absorbed into the center of the indigo sun, and we, the point of light, absorbed with it, as if now, in the very center of the indigo sun, imbued with this love, wisdom, energy of indigo, and sensing the presence of the great teacher, Master Dwell Kul, who can guide our consciousness as we seek to come en rapport with the energies which are truly available at this time. And as we, as a group, come en rapport with the energies of the planets and the signs, constellations, etc., available now, it is as if suffused with the energy of Master Dwell Kul, that great expert in the knowledge of planetary and zodiacal energies, as if we stand on his shoulders and can see what normally we could not see before in this sign of vision, Sagittarius. And sometimes we look up at the night sky and we see the planetary bodies of Jupiter and Mars, and of course we stand on Earth. These are the bodies of great deities. We try to sense that they are deities indeed. Many gods within the one and only God. The reconciliation of polytheism and monotheism, of course, reconcilable. And it will be towards Jupiter that we will think, the Esoteric ruler, giving us that vision of ever-expanding horizons and the enthusiastic motivation to move beyond and through the limitations of our present ring-pass knot of consciousness and of activity, expanding. We will come en rapport with Jupiter, the royal blue of Jupiter, and with this Earth, the esoteric ruler, conveying the realization that our planetary sphere must be spiritually enlivened until it becomes truly the sacred planet outwardly, which it already is, we are told, inwardly. Our beautiful and becoming sacred Earth, we working towards the sacredization of the Earth, treading such a path as will contribute to making the planet sacred. And also rapport with Mars, the red-orange planet, the zeal to redirect and elevate the tendency of all our lunar lords, usually our prism, the imprisoning cube, usually. But these lunar lords, through the power of aspiration, can be made free and sent on their own higher way, liberating them and liberating us. So Mars conveys this aspiration. These are real energies. They are present, always, but more intensely so at such times as this. Let us be alive to these energies. Let them carry us into higher states, beyond our ordinary limitations. So, let us take them one by one. Jupiter first. Jupiter in relation to Sagittarius. Come on rapport with the royal blue of Jupiter. Extending one's vision of truth and reality. Expanding one's consciousness to embrace an ever-widening ring past knot, more and more included of reality, greater understanding. Our causal body seems to expand under this influence, and our consciousness is where we become really more than man, a higher, a liberation, a potent spiritual will. We embrace the positivity of Jupiter, its assurance of beneficial growth and eventual fulfillment for everyone. The fulfillment of desire, the fulfillment of the highest desires that a soul originated. Step into that growing sense of all-inclusive wholeness, which the great Lord Jupiter confers. Let it widen out from your heart, from the heart within the head. Let the aura expand, embracing the wholeness as each one of us can conceive it, and as the group can conceive it. That stream of energy is entering the group, entering humanity. Where do we need this energy in our group life, this Jupiterian energy, these qualities? We are imbued with it. And we see our group and our groups imbued with this Jupiterian energy. What would that look like if they were responding to this wider Sagittarian vision under the Jupiterian energy? How would we be lifted, expanded, broadened, deepened? Let us send this energy into the group, and seeing the beneficent changes occur, and into our many groups and into humanity, the Jupiterian energy, we sound the Om, we can visualize the royal blue, we see the beneficent effects. These days, let our group and groups be uplifted by Jupiter. Forget all sadness, depression, the weight of the lunar lords when unredeemed, and let the vision inspire us. Breathing in the inspiration of Jupiter. And now we move our focus to our little planet, Earth, so important to us, and actually at this time very important in the solar system, center of solar systemic Kundalini, Earth in relation to Saturn, redeeming the etheric physical nature of both human beings and of our planetary globe. Earth, a planet much to do with the ether and also with the physicality we have inherited from a previous solar system. So Earth revitalizing these lesser and greater etheric physical vehicles in ways which disengage these vehicles from the retrogressive lunar tendencies. Vitality. Earth prana, solar prana, conducted through earth prana. These influences conveyed by the logos of planet Earth, through these influences, which we can all absorb, we realize our capacity to tread the path which leads to the energetic glorification of our planet until it becomes the sacred planet. Path, planetary glory, the glory of every individual on that planet, the glorified Earth, treading the straight and narrow path that leads to that glorification. Our Earth, a sacred heavenly temple in which spirit finds its embodiment in spiritually regenerated matter. Our own matter, spiritually regenerated, the matter of the group, the matter of the kingdoms of nature, the matter of the entire planet, etheric, physical, regenerated. A great redemptive process occurring right here on Earth through the ascent of the fire. And as the fires burn, the vision increases, the vision of what it means to be a sacred planet. Earth, a burning ground, leading to the widening of consciousness in Sagittarius. A new attitude towards our planet, our threatened planet, a higher vision which allows us to respect our planet, the environment, the ecology, the beauty of our planet brought back into balance because we see the higher vision of what is intended. This vision for Earth must enter human consciousness. Then the little selfish visions can fade away. And one vision seen by all humanity for the redemption of our planet can take the place of all that leads to the destruction of our environment. Let Earth be made sacred, and let the little Earth that we are, for which we function, be made sacred as well, so we can contribute to the sacralization of our planet. All the beauty of Earth, let it enter our group, our groups, the best of Earth, this planet of the third ray, second ray, first ray, entering until we definitely, through exercising our understanding of the plan, contribute to making Earth the sacred planet by making our little environment more sacred. How can this be done? The little Earth in which we find our place, our local environment, how to make it more sacred. Let us ponder. Attempting to come on rapport with the soul of our planet, with the second-ray soul of our planet, conveyed by our planetary logos. If this second-ray quality of Earth enters our heart and mind, we will definitely contribute to making Earth a sacred planet and making our little environments more sacred, more vital, more inspired. We owe it to our little environment, contributing to the greater environment which must be made sacred. So let us sound the second ray note, seeing the little environment made more sacred, treading a path which leads to making our planet a sacred planet. The years may be many before that really occurs, but we must tread the path in that direction. Let that idea of the sacred planet be seen by humanity and grasped. Let us as one humanity move towards it. And finally, the power of Mars in relation to Sagittarius. It's the hierarchical ruler, this planet of war and of zeal, but of stimulation. So stimulating in us and all human beings the power of aspiration to rise until aspiration becomes transmutation and spiritual elevation. Not just desire, not just reaching for the unreal, but reaching for the real. The power in fire to reach towards the real, to ascend. Mars, this planet, driving the quest for ever new experiences of a reality lying beyond the present ring pass not of consciousness, bringing about the immolation of the lunar nature, the fiery consummation of the lunar nature, which allows consciousness to be free and to rise. Fiery, consuming of the lunar nature until they are liberated as Vedic lives, not just elemental lives. And our consciousness is made free in that fire. The potency of Mars impelling towards the treading of the way of higher evolution, which leads the outward-bound monad towards its truer home in those distant constellations which form the chakras of our local one about whom naught may be said. higher Mars driving us on that great journey. There is none of us who should not be in fire. Fire, the reality, and fire, that which liberates into reality to enter that which is seen. For Sagittarius sees, but we must enter that which is seen. From the fire, through the fire, to the fire. All the lesser restraints burned away, the vision clarified, a fiery entry into higher states, using the power of Mars to consume the obstacles. Not Mars, the god of war, but Mars, the god of fiery elevation. And where do we need it? We in our groups, where do we need this Mars? Are we sufficiently animated, sufficiently fiery? Can we consume our limitations? Do we aspire with the great aspiration the masters have, for even they aspire? Let us see the group and groups imbued by Mars. We'll use the red note C. The red note imbuing us with the aspiration which will reveal that which lies beyond our present limitations. Let us sound the Om and firing our groups with this power of upward tending aspiration. May we be strengthened in our groups by hierarchical Mars, burning through to greater experience and greater vision. So these are the planets, these are the gods, these are the deities whose streams of energy we can absorb at this time more potently than at other times. It's an hourglass, really, and we now ascend to the central point, the point of transformation, the point of our solar god itself, the great blue Logos, the god of love, the all-consuming fire of love, every one of us having our true home within the solar Logos, who pervades every atom and life within our solar system. We are in this sea of wisdom, in the great blue of love wisdom. The teacher of all the planetary deities and eventually of such beings as we are. Immersed are we, at least imaginatively, in the great Lord of our solar system. He it is who rules the final decade of Sagittarius. When illumination comes, revelation, the true vision of reality, let us affirm our spiritual place within the solar Logos, however tiny we are, imbued by the great solar God. Let us affirm it and believe it live it, and be beings of love, wisdom, emanated monadically from within this great solar Lord. And we will use the second ray note, the G, the blue note, for the blue logos. However limited we may seem to be, our destiny is the sun. Let us remember it. Now, from the point of the hourglass, we expand this way, upward, towards the constellation Sagittarius. Its light, a beam of directed, focused light. In this, the point of light becomes the beam, revealing a greater light ahead and illumining the way to the center of the light. This has been the idea expressed in the illustrations of Francis, always, ever on, toward the periphery, but yet towards the center, revealing a greater light ahead and illumining the way to the center of the light. Sagittarius leading us to ever more intense light. It's a brilliant constellation in the sky. It's beautiful to contemplate. It's bright. It's clear. It moves. It sends us on our way. And we open to this light, to the energy quality of Sagittarius. It brings in 4 rays, 3 rays really, constellationally, the 4th, 5th, and 6th, but especially the 6th ray, and also via its planetary attendants, the 2nd ray via Jupiter, the 3rd ray of Earth, the 6th ray of Mars, many rays through Sagittarius or in association with Sagittarius. This is the constellation which sends its power through the sun, through the planet, through what we call the concentrated influence of the sign Sagittarius, reaching us in monad, in soul, and personality. We breathe it in. It uplifts us and helps us uplift others. Where there is no vision, the people perish. When there is just pessimism and a limited point of view, the energy does not flow, and we cannot have that. The energy must flow into us and into the group and into humanity. It must flow. The vision must be clarified, so the energy must flow. If ever you are depressed, it is because the vision is not clear and the energy is not flowing. Clarify the vision, and the energy will flow and you will be inspired. The group will be inspired. Hierarchy works through inspiration. Let us be inspired. I see the goal. I reach that goal. And then I see another. As a group, in our alignment, via the Antikarana, soul absorbed, touching the higher realms of abstract mind, intuition, spiritual will, and even the realm of being itself. I see the goal. I reach that goal. And then I see another. So let us contemplate our individual goal, our group goal, the goal of humanity, even we can, the goal of the planet. We ponder. I see the goal. I reach that goal. And then I see another. If we seem to have lost our way, if our steps are flagging, if we do not have the energy we should, then let our inspiration be renewed as we see the goal and tread with renewed vigor the path towards them. Will lead to further revelation assuredly. I see the goal. I reach that goal. And then I see another. Do we not, as a group, wish to tread the way into the ashram? Into the greater ashram, which is the hierarchy, the ashram of Sanat Kumar. Do we not wish it? Do we not desire it? Do we not aspire towards it? So that we may really be effective in cooperating with the expression of the divine plan, which now as never before must be clearly expressed in this troubled world. Do we not wish to educate ourselves in the way of hierarchy, to form points of illumination which can carry the hierarchical light to humanity? For Sagittarius is a great sign of education leading to greater light. I see the goal. I reach that goal, and then I see another. Specifically, what is your goal? Absorb the inspiration required to achieve your goal. and in achieving your goal, contribute to the achievement of the goal which lies before your group and groups. I see the goal. I reach that goal. And then I see another. So intensify this now. Some hours remain before the full moon. And afterwards, let the sense of your goal and of your group's goal increase. Make it so real. Find the ways to reach it. And let nothing stop you. The vision has the power to draw you on. You will achieve it. We will achieve it. Nothing will stop us. Into the greater light, into the greater love and the greater power, we will proceed. Nothing will stop us from the pursuit on our one-pointed path towards the goal. May it be so. We are in the alignment, the great alignment, really, all the way from the one about whom naught may be said, through, in this case, Orion, a magnificent constellation, 7 first magnitude stars, a holy constellation connected with Sagittarius, Betelgeuse in Orion, connected to Sagittarius, through the Sun, the solar logos, through Jupiter, through Mars, and through our Earth in Shambhala. It touches us as a monad. You may not be able to detect it, but it does, as a monad, as a soul-infused personality, and in the field of soul-infused personalities, we are aligned. And through the various chakras, bringing those solar plexus energies higher and higher until they can be expressed as aspiration turning to pure love, giving us the Ajna Center direction we need as individuals and as a group to tread this way. Let us see the vision and tread the way which leads towards it. I see the goal. Do not be satisfied if you do not see the goal. I see the goal. I reach that goal. Then I see another. What is the goal for humanity? Look out through your imagination, which Sagittarius is so related to. Look out and see what's happening there. There's trouble. There are problems. People are blind. Select an area within troubled humanity, and what if there the people saw the goal, the true goal, not artificial goals, led on by illusion and glamour and Maya, not those goals, but the goal which the soul of humanity would offer to an awakening consciousness. What if they saw? We who see a little can convey something of that sense of sight to those who see very little, who are blind, really. Choose an area of trouble that needs improvement. And think what could be a truer goal inspired by a truer vision in that area of difficulty. And as we sound the Om together, breathe forth some words of power into this troubled area. Words which will help those who do not see to see a higher possibility which will bring that trouble to an end and harmonize the troubled area with the direction of the divine plan under the divine purpose. We will sound the Om 3 times, watching increased vision do its good work in this troubled area. And as the hours pass and as the days of distribution pass, keep in mind the beneficent use of this energy to bring a true sense of vision and of direction to the troubled areas of Earth. Keep distributing so that all may see the light, may see the coming Christ, the advent, the birth of true love wisdom in humanity. See this unfolding as you direct the energy over these days. See this happening, and thus serve inwardly by meditation a great power. We know that if powerful groups can meditate in the right way, the worst dangers of these present times can be averted, and humanity can follow its true direction into the unfoldment of the Aquarian age. Yes, with its difficulties, but still at least on the proper path. So meditate with power under these influences. To close our meditation and staying in the alignment, this magnificent alignment from above, let us together sound that mantra of light and power, the great invocation. This, our greatest instrument in bringing about, in this period of Advent, the reappearance of the Christ. This, our greatest tool, our greatest power, the great invocation. Visualizing light, love, and spiritual power permeating every aspect of our Earth, our becoming sacred planet, following its own direction purposefully within our solar system. Earth finding itself and taking its place in the great purpose of our solar logos. From the point of light within the mind of God, let light stream forth into the minds of men. Let light descend on earth. From the point of love within the heart of God, let love stream forth into the hearts of men. May Christ return to earth. From the center where the will of God is known, let purpose guide the little wills of men, the purpose which the masters know and serve. From the center which we call the race of men, let the plan of love and light work out, and may it seal the door where evil dwells. Let light and love and power restore the plan on earth. Thank you, friends. Let us gather inspiration in the coming hours. Wherever we are, let us be fully awake at that moment, 2:45 and 55 seconds p.m. Greenwich Mean Time, Universal Time. Let us unite with each other and with the new group of world servers and all men and women of goodwill and all humanity, and bringing these energies of inspiration and of vision into human consciousness, so that we may know the correct way to tread the path and not deviate into the worlds of glamour, illusion, and Maya. Let us lend our vision to all that we can contact at this point, both outwardly and inwardly. Thank you, and see you then in meditation at the time of the full moon. Okay.